Hey friends and revolutionaries, welcome to a twofer on the Not Quite Ready for Whatever series. The Not Quite Ready for Whatever has kind of become my project videos for any kind of customization that I've started doing, particularly using green stuff and, you know, swapping around parts and things like that. And I know I promised, not last week, but the week before, that I would give you a look at the figure that is most likely going to be the one that I'm going to submit for the Create a Character Contest for the Master Universe Classics. Even though I haven't done much work on him since we last talked, I will go ahead and show you what I've done so far, and let you see what my submission is going to be, most likely. But because I didn't do one last week, again, I'll go ahead and give you a twofer. And this first one, real simple, real quick. It didn't really take very long, but it was actually kind of neat. I've mentioned that with the DC Universe Classics figures, with Superman, there are plenty to be had. You know, there is Superman on a single card. There's Superman that comes in the Gotham 5-pack. The one that comes with the two He-Man, which is where, you know, the He-Man 2-pack, which is where I get most of mine from. But there are plenty of Superman figures. Plenty of them out there. And not just the basic one. I mean, we got the long-haired, mullet-haired Superman. You know, we got the slightly different Eradicator. They did go ahead and bring back the old mold from the DC Superheroes for the Cyborg Superman. And of course we did get the Superboy, which is an entirely different mold altogether, but still no shortage of the of Superman in the red and blues. And for the base Superman, for just our basic Superman, because there are so many that you can get, and because, you know, there are at least 4 or 5 of them if you count the one that came with Brainiac that I still have to do. You know, I decided to take one and put on a Lex Luthor head just so that we would have a Lex Luthor Superman. I'm sure a comic cover somewhere I'm sure that's adequate to a comic cover somewhere. But that's not it. That's not the what I did. As I was saying, I've got 5 of this Superman. You know, 4 if you count popping off the head for Lex Luthor. One of them I keep at work. One of them I'm still trying to decide what to do with. And the 5th one, I was thinking, you know, I just got too many of these. I really want to try and do something different with him. And I thought, well, you know, what could you do? You know, I guess you could, you know, pull off his cape and put some battle damage on him. And I may eventually do that with this one. It would kind of fit more with the rest of the look. But when I was watching the Justice League episode Hereafter, part 2 as a matter of fact, what a great episode. I always like Vandal Savage episodes. That was a really good one. I kind of got inspired because I realized that whenever Superman gets stranded somewhere, which of course that episode he was stranded in the future, one way they would always show that Superman is not in civilization, he's on his own, is they give him a beard. So I basically took this Superman here, took a little green stuff that I had left over, and sculpted on a mustache and beard. Now you might make the argument, well, and you can really see how the face is just entirely different once he's got his beard grown out. And you could probably make the argument that this looks more like one of those joke beards you would buy, one of those fake ones. But I thought it turned out pretty good. I liked it. And the good thing with green stuff is you can always add more and clean it up, you know, some more. Oh, I also went ahead and, of course, the everyday Superman has this very well-groomed hair with a little S curl in it. I went ahead and took just a little bit and added an extra piece of hair, an extra part of his bangs kind of falling down. I have to go through and paint in the highlights. But one thing you might notice is that whereas Superman's curl usually has the S on it, it's got the Superman curl. When I added the extra piece here, I wanted to make sure to give it kind of an M. So it's still the S for Superman, but now there's an M on the hair for the man part. Yeah, see? Subtle little things. Subtle little things you do just for fun. But, yeah, like I said, it gives the figure an entirely different kind of feel. And at some point I may pull off the cape and beat up his clothes a little bit. But for as much as I was doing things last week, yeah, I didn't think that was too bad. So, there's your first, come on, focus, there you go. There's your first in this week's Not Quite Ready for DC Universe Classics Superman. Stick around, I'll be right back and show you what I've been doing with the Master Universe. Okay, well, moving on to the Not Quite Ready for Master Universe Classic part of the video, the part I'm sure all of you really want to see. I'm going to go back just to this guy for a moment, just to show just two quick changes that I did make to him. Again, haven't gone through and repainted him, even though now I know how I want to make him look. Two things that I've done. One is I took the blow dryer ray gun that came off my second Battleground Tila, and one of the clips from a shield from the 2-pack, or the weapons pack, the spare weapons pack I got, and made a little clip-on gun for his wrist. So it's kind of a nifty accessory, kind of an original thing to go with his axe that I did. But more importantly, recently I've got a spare Robin from the Bane series, from the DC Universe Classics Bane series. And by getting a spare Robin, it means that I got a spare Bane's head. And just on a whim, I heated up the head to see if it would fit on the Master Universe Classics body, and sure enough it does. So even though I was originally going to use Bo's head on this, I've decided I'm going to go ahead and use Bane's. I'll take some more green stuff and kind of change it around a bit, you know, maybe add like a gladiator fin on there or something maybe. You know, maybe something on the side of the heads possibly. But that just was too perfect. I wonder if I could do that. And I popped it on and yes I can. So yeah, between the Bane's head and the new ray gun clip-on that I made, this is pretty much all I've been doing with this particular figure. You'll see more here in the next couple of weeks. Now, why do I bring him up, considering I didn't really do all that much with him? Well, as I mentioned when I talked about him last time, he's just made of spare parts. He's just made over what I had left over from the Toys R Us Skeletor Lex Luthor 2-pack, the Superman and He-Man 2-pack, which is a shame they're not going to keep doing these 2-packs. Skeletor's been sitting on the shelf, I'll admit that, but the He-Man, the Merman, and the Stratos pack, they sell out quick. And I would think that Toys R Us is basing it solely on the Skeletor pack, which I think is a bit of a shame. That's really a shame. I hope they reconsider. I really do. Speaking of the Stratos 2-pack, I did happen to get a spare one, and therefore got a spare Hawkman. Now, it was with the original parts I took from He-Man, Skeletor, and Hawkman that I used to put together what is most likely going to be my submission to the Master Universe Classics Create a Character Contest. It's not done yet, needs a little bit of work, so you're looking at a very preliminary stage, but here you go. Ta-da! Not all that involved, really. I mean, when you stop and consider it, not a lot that was put into him, but the changes really do, I think they make him stand out quite a bit. As you can see, he is pretty much just a He-Man body. It's just a He-Man. using the armor from Skeletor, everything from the top chest armor to the lower sash, and then the shin guards, still using the He-Man boots. The biggest problem with this is that heating up the boots to swap out the feet make these even more loose than they normally are. So I'll have to find a way to kind of tighten those up a bit. The head actually is a spare head from the 2-pack, or the 2-pack of Palace Guards. I actually had gotten 3 packs, one to keep sealed for the collection, and then 2 so I could have one of each guard: the Lizard Man, the Cat Man, and the 2 humans. Well, I took one of the human heads and then added the green stuff to make the hood and the mask. Gave me a spare helmet now to do something with. I'll have to do some work on the top of his head. It's a little flat, so I'll have to do some work on it. Again, this is very preliminary. And then, of course, obviously, the Hawkman wings, which, getting them off actually caused a bit of a break on it. So, again, I'll have to do some work to try and fix it up a bit. I also want to kind of fill in the gaps surrounding where it's fitting into the sword holster on the back. You know, put some green stuff in there and fill that up, clean that up a bit. I tried to keep the mask off the body enough so that you could turn it left and right. Doesn't really have the up and down, doesn't have as much kind of up and down articulation the ball joint should have, but the left and right seem to work fine. Used just a flat black with actually a bolt gun metal from the Games Workshop set of paints, and then a dull coat finish, which really toned down the silver. This was much more bright silver. The dull coat really kind of brought it together. Definitely made it look more fitting, I think. I left his wristbands gold. I decided I didn't want to paint those. I liked having the yellow on there, so I left those as is. Of course, Skeletor's shaggy shorts and his armor piece, again with the rivets painted silver. The buckles on the side, painted those silver. And just overall, again, I think it's a very fitting piece. I think he fits in fairly well with the other figures. Particularly when I take the and the weapons packs, the Master Universe weapons packs have been just so useful for these sort of things. This is the repainted optic shield, which I thought was perfect with the black, with kind of the matted black. I plan on actually painting his hood black and then using a similar purple for the mask. So the mask is probably going to be a similar purple to this with a black hood over it. And his story is actually going to involve the Sword of Power, particularly this one, the one that came with Hero. And once he's done and I actually show off the finished version, I'll have the bio all set up for you guys. But he's not a good guy. He's not one of the heroic warriors. He's not one of the masters of the universe. Oh no. He's a nasty one. But I think he turned out great. So far I think he's looking great. And whether or not I actually submit him as the Creative Character Contest, I don't know. But I'm really glad that I've got him. I'm glad that I went through and made him. Because there's just nothing quite the same as having an all-original piece, even if you made it yourself. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching. Got more reviews coming up. Rate, comment, subscribe, join the revolution. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.